I'm delighted to invite onto the stage Julia Lamm and Kevin Kroen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Guy.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. As Guy mentioned, I'm Julia Lamm. At Pwc, I lead our workforce strategy service offering, work with clients to help them think about their talent strategies, how they upskill and transform their workforce. I'm joined by Kevin Kroen, my partner here. Kevin leads our intelligent process automation service offering, as well as oversees the partnership with UIPath. So we're here today to tell you about our story. I was a little worried Guy was going to tell the whole thing, but fortunately, we'll fill in the middle there. But spoiler alert, we are a client now. And we're going to tell you a little bit about the Pwc story, why we made a decision to basically transform our workforce. But we're going to start off with a little bit about the data, the rationale. Pwc, we do a lot of analytics, and we don't go into a decision without thinking it all the way through. So annually, we do conduct a lot of different research surveys. We're going to talk about some of those today, one of which is our CEO survey. We're actually in the 22nd year of gathering that data, where we poll CEOs globally to ask them, what's on your mind? Are you optimistic about the future? What do you think's going to happen in the next year? So over the last couple of years, we've been noticed this skills gap topic rising up and up on the list. This last year, it was higher than ever. It became the number 3rd biggest concern on the CEO agenda. And what that means, basically, it's behind regulation and policy uncertainty coming from, the political landscape. So really concerning, right? And we at Pwc are looking at this for ourselves, but also our clients are taking a look at this. So 79% of CEOs are worried about the availability of key skills. And why does that even matter? Basically, it's because of a number of reasons, the biggest being innovation. So we found that 55% of those same CEOs report that innovation has been stagnated because we aren't able to find people with the right skills. Other reasons that the skills gap is a concern, essentially, you're not able to meet customer demands, quality drops, your customer experience, as well as some other challenges.
So while we look at the upskilling agenda as a current topic, I think it actually helps to take a step back for a second and look at transformation maybe historically over the past 2 decades. So the same CEO survey that Julia talked about, we've been doing in our 20-something year. And one of the topics that's consistently highlighted, in addition to some of the more recent things, is around change management. When you look at transformation, you look at technology-led transformation, and whether that, over the last 2 decades, whether that's big ERP, core systems replacement, end-user workflow, there's been a lot of challenges with clients realizing value. And the biggest themes that we've heard is themes around being able to scale technology, being able to realize benefit, and being able to realize transforming the workforce as a result of that. We'll enter the automation era as RPA and other technologies have become the hot thing. A lot of this was supposed to change. Automation was supposed to usher in an era of hyper-agile development, quick time to market, clear benefits cases. So what's been the result of the past couple of years as RPA has gained scale? We do a survey, a separate survey of a lot of our automation clients every year. And as we looked at the survey results from what we did this year, we saw a couple things. The first thing was clear feedback from our clients that the technology works. Tools like UIPath have been proven to work in an enterprise environment. Our business, helping clients do proof of concepts with UiPath, is a dying business. It's not a concept to know that the technology actually is functional. However, we did get a lot of feedback that wasn't necessarily rosy, and there were 3 key themes that are highlighted on the slide that came out in that. The challenges to get to scale, challenges to realize benefits, and challenges to think about the impact of automation on the workforce of the future. Does it sound familiar? New technology, some of the same old problems.
Yeah, we venture guess that these are the same 3 themes that are on all of your minds when you think about growing. So on that note, we wanted to double click a little bit into the workforce issue. So this one's really hotly contested. You're reading the news, people are scared robots are going to take their jobs away. There's a lot of fear and anxiety around this topic, but there's also a lot of positivity. And we've got some data behind that. We'll stop with the data soon enough and get into our story. But we have found that 55% of people are worried that automation is going to take their job away. That's a big number. That means there's a lot of disruption in the workforce, water cooler talk, anxiety, people not necessarily knowing what they're going to do from a career path perspective. Of that, the 60% also think that few people will have stable long-term jobs in the future. Now, fundamentally, that does align with some demographic shifts and preferences, but also a very significant shift in terms of workforce expectations. And PwC has done research that found in an average organization, based on the technology disruption happening, 5 to 10% of roles are going to be significantly transformed year over year. And so that's a big change for workforces and for companies. They have a responsibility to help their employees figure out how to take on new jobs. On the positive side, it's not all doom and gloom. On the positive side, we did find that employees are very willing to reskill. They want to have skills that are relevant. Our survey, similar survey with some of the data points on the left there, of 12,000 employees globally, found that 74% are ready to reskill to remain employable. And we also asked, what does that even mean? Are you going to spend an hour doing a virtual training? Like, what does that mean to you? And we found that it's on average 2 days a month. So somewhere in the ballpark of 30 minutes to an hour today, employees are willing to spend on learning. So we haven't found publicly that the data is showing yet that jobs are indeed being taken over by robots. Last month, you probably all saw unemployment hit the lowest it's been in 50 years. So with all of that said, we've done our research. Now we want to tell you a little bit about the PwC story and our journey. So those of you who are not familiar with PwC, we're a professional services firm. We have 3 lines of service: audit, those accountants that you guys have heard about over the years, tax, and advisory, or our consulting business. That's where Kevin and myself sit. PwC in the US is about 53,000 employees. Globally, we're at 275,000 employees. And we essentially took a look at all the facts and data we just looked at and said, well, what are we going to do about this? We need to disrupt, or we're at risk of being disrupted. So Tim Ryan, our chairman in the US, and our journey focuses on the US for the time being, basically sat down with partners, Kevin included, 2 years ago and said, partners, we need to make a change. We're going to go on this digital upskilling journey. And there's 3 commitments that I'm going to make to you. One is it's going to be truly transformative to the organization. 2, and the PwC people in the room will recognize this one, no one will be left behind. We're going to give everyone the training that they need to thrive in our new environment. And 3rd, and relevant, this is where UiPath comes in, we're going to give them the tools, the appropriate tools, to really reinforce and support this transformation.
So, as we look at, oh, sorry.
No, sorry, I hit the slide button. It's very temperamental.
No problem. So as we looked at the challenge ahead of us from a transformation perspective, one of the themes that our chairman Tim Ryan talked about from a goals perspective was to think about how we could deliver services that were more digitally enabled at a lower cost, and would take our employees, our employees would have active engagement in that transformation of that work. So as we thought about the challenges of transformation in front of us, we help our clients transform for a living, but normally that's done in a given function or business unit or division. We were looking at was a lot more, in our minds, bigger, and some of the challenges with the highly federated nature of our business made us think differently about this. And so the concept that jumped at us is really how do we enable the workforce, those closest to the business process, to really play a key role with this change. And the key kind of lever that we introduced into our ecosystem was the idea of citizen-led innovation. Simply put, citizen-led innovation is trying to take the people that sit closest to the business process and give them both the training and the tools to be able to both come up with ideas to solve problems and to be able to actually play a role in the solution of that problem. So what does that mean when in relation, we're at a UiPath RPA event? Well, one of the core tenets that we built in our citizen-led innovation channel was the concept of a robot for every person. So simply put, we made a decision to roll out RPA, and in this case UiPath, to our entire workforce. That's starting with 50,000 employees in the US, that's rolling out to 270,000 employees globally. That means we put attended bot runners and developer studios that are available for any employee that can download onto their desktop with the ability to build bots. We're not limiting the transformation to a COE-led transformation or to a power user-led transformation. This was to all employees, which was a major shift. Part of what I do for a living is advise clients on how to design and implement automation programs, and I'm sure it's not a surprise to most of the folks in the room that usually we're talking about RPA and the concept of 10 bots or 100 bots or 1,000 bots. We wanted to think bigger on this. Now, obviously, I'm sure there's, as I say that, there's probably a ton of questions like how the heck is that ever allowed? What are some of the risk impacts and so forth? And those are the natural questions that come up. This by itself wasn't the program. We built a comprehensive operating model that surrounded this, that included an upskilling program to upskill our entire workforce, and we'll talk a little bit about this in a second, a collaboration platform that allows solutions to be governed and shared across our network, a well-functioning business-led or enterprise-led channel, which is our enterprise COE, that solves both the really tough issues and helps govern the citizen-led channels, and a change management process that allows us to take the solutions that are being developed and use it to transform the way we deliver services to our clients across all three lines of service. Why do we pick UiPath as one of our key digital tools in this transformation? Kind of simply put, three major reasons. One, we saw a clear fit within our infrastructure and the fact that UiPath integrated well with what PwC does. Second was UiPath's continued focus since started on upskilling and training, and the fact that UiPath Academy was kind of the first of its kind, and there was such a focus on that, which aligned with the goals of what we were trying to achieve in this program. And UiPath's openness and willingness to work with us. The model that we talked about, and I clearly remember some of the early meetings with UiPath was new. We were talking about this at a different scale. The products don't exist necessarily to support what we were doing, so the openness and willingness to work with us and evolve the products to meet this. And that's created a really strong partnership between us and UiPath. Now, I could keep talking about all the wonders of this model and why it's great, but since we're talking citizen-led innovation, I actually thought some of our citizens would be better to talk about what we're doing. So with that, we're going to cue a quick video.
Hi everyone, my name is Scott Grossnickel. I've been with the firm for just over 4 years now. I'm a manager in our tax asset management group in New York, and most recently a digital accelerator.
Hi, my name is Jackie Burks. I'm a digital accelerator, originally coming from the audit practice, and I'm a senior associate.
Hello, my name is Alex Kazmarod, and I'm a digital accelerator out of the Boston office. I'm in the assurance line of service.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I am in the Financial Services Advisory practice, and I am a digital accelerator.
So, what is a digital accelerator?
A digital accelerator is someone who is really interested in intelligent automation and other emerging technologies, learns how to use those technologies, and then can apply them in our everyday activities at PwC.
That doesn't mean we're going to come in and cause a lot of havoc, but what it means is we're coming in to help you reimagine the possible.
The work I've done using UiPath includes extracting data from large, high voluminous amounts of PDFs. For a lot of the audit work, they often get large volume of samples that they need to extract details like loan dates or contract amounts. So we're able to use UiPath to So filter through all the PDFs and extract the data.
I recall being in audit and doing a lot of testing areas that were quite repetitive in nature. A team used to manually recalculate interest expense, and we used RPA solution to download a lot of the bond issuance documents to scrape them for the key fields necessary for an interest expense recalculation.
Most recently, one of my biggest asset management clients, I went out and worked with them in their entire organization to digitally upskill them and teach them the skills that we have learned at PwC.
Tech has changed my career because it's helped me to enhance my skill set, learn new ways to solve problems, and it's also allowed me to be a part of some new and exciting projects that I would have not been a part of if I didn't learn these new technologies.
So yeah, it's better straight from the horse's mouth, right? And you can see the energy and excitement that our team has. So the Digital Accelerator program, we actually had 3,500 people apply to that, which is really fascinating given how kind of ambiguous the email asking for nominations was. It said something like, come, be reskilled, do your jobs differently, apply here. And not a lot more information than that. So we were thrilled to get 3,500 people applying for the program. Of that, 1,000 went through the first year. We have another 1,000 going through this year. And the important thing to keep in mind about why this worked, we provided ample training. They went through several days of intensive in-person training. They had ongoing course curriculum through months of the program. And around data analytics, around UiPath software, around digital storytelling, all of those sort of topics that fall under the digital transformation category. But the real key to success here was how we protected their time and basically carved out 1/4 of their time going forward to be spent using UiPath, applying the things they learned, solving problems when they were deployed back to their teams. So it's really exciting. I mean, this entire transformation, we've got a number of other pieces to it. There's formal training. We've got a digital academy 2-day session, which the majority of PwC has gone through, where we actually, all get our license and log into UiPath for the first time and some other data tools. That's one piece. We have an app, the digital fitness app, that basically helps everyone kind of talk a common language. What's the difference between IPA and RPA and AI, and how are all those different things termed? And then we're toying with incentives throughout the program as well as gamified learning. But it certainly has been a learning journey for us, and on the positive and negative. I mean, I think we were ecstatic about how many people were excited about this transformation. Turnover amongst that group of people is less than 1%, which is tremendous. We also, I have people on my team who talk to me about, hey, they're sending me emails on Saturday, and I'm like, why are you emailing me on a Saturday? What's going on? And they're working on a problem using the tools they've just got access to that week. So the pace is increasing and fast, and they're able to problem solve and very excited. So the program has been so successful that just last week, we made an announcement that we're going to be taking this global to PwC. So it's a program called New World, New Skills. We are investing $3 billion globally over the course of 4 years on upskilling, on technologies like UiPath, and other solutions to roll out to our global workforce. It's huge, obviously, and the pilot was the United States workforce, so we feel confident in the potential for success. We also, as part of that, see our role in community and helping to bring some of these tools and solutions back to our communities. So that's a critical part of that reinvestment as well.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about PwC and our journey, but one of the other really interesting trends that we're seeing is a lot of interest from our clients who are grappling with some of the same challenges and exploring some of the same solutions. So the diagram that's up on the projector, we have this red dot that talks about current automation scope. When we look at where our clients' automation programs are focused, Generally, the number one fundamental for anyone, for talking to our RPA practitioners, is go find the highest value opportunities, and those are the opportunities you want to automate. What we find in general is those tend to be pointed at high volume, high transaction type business processes where the solutions is somewhat RPA, but as people get more advanced with this, we're finding there's a much broader integrated stack of technologies that's required to solve those problems. UiPath has a number of their technology partners here, and there's a lot of really interesting solutions coming out. It's an area we need to continue to invest in. This is what's going to really transform the organization. However, you're leaving a lot on the table by doing that. And I think when we look at organizational coverage and we stop having a debate around the number of bots and start having a debate around organizational coverage as a metric, we're seeing a lot left on the table and seeing an opportunity to automate. I think, particularly when we look outside of the operations functions and we go into other corporate functions, into compliance, risk, HR, internal audit, the front office, client service, there's a ton of use cases out there that generally tend to get ignored because a lot of the models today don't support that the ROI or business case is enough for it to make sense. We're trying to flip that on its head and create a model where those by themselves can generate benefits, whether that's employee experience or whether real financial benefit. And collectively, if enough solutions are built, they can feed in and create things that actually fill that red bubble. There's tons of examples of use cases that we see, whether it's the customer service agent that has to toggle between 5 systems to solve a simple client problem, whether it's the analyst who was put into place to execute a manual control on a financial system because risk found a deficiency and the IT budget to fix that was never there. Whether it's the swivel chair activity that was put into place because the last 10% of a bigger system implementation didn't get complete and the IT project to fix that falls below the line every year. There's lots of these cases out there that by themselves probably don't get on the radar of a big automation program, but having a citizen-led type channel gives you the chance and the ability to solve that. So, from our perspective, we see this as an opportunity and something that, as you start thinking on the kind of interaction between your enterprise program, another important channel that should be implemented. So, from an overall journey perspective, does this mean everyone should start this big of an effort right now? We don't think that's realistic, and I'm sure there's lots of questions we're going to get about, what the opinions of operational risk or compliance functions are of this type of model. However, we do think there's a number of steps that one can take to start working towards this, and included in that is really kind of a focus on upskilling as an overall topic. The ability to have your workforce aware of the technologies and solutions that are out there and in new ways to solve problems. The ability to start with a toolkit to start focusing on personal productivity and smaller issues and things that can be done without a ton of oversight or risk. And then the ability to start tackling some of a broader, more holistic model, which may in the future lead to a citizen-led model.
So with that, we want to wrap up and just say thank you so much for listening to our story. We know, not everyone's going to be as fortunate to have a leader who's so behind a transformation of this nature. So in addition to the things Kevin started to highlight in a couple of items on the screen, we do suggest, start small, start finding quick wins, look in functions where, there's an opportunity for change, look for, smaller functions where there's a leader or a workforce that's really excited about this, and try to harness that excited energy that's coming out of your workforce. People fundamentally do want to change the way they work. They want to have skills that are relevant. And the opportunity is all of ours, really, to help enable that transformation. So thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.